Hi, I'm Russ with DMMCheck Plus. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate your time. This is an introduction to our new DMMCheck Plus Model 8 or Revision 8. And if you're like me and most normal people, you've got 10 or 12 pieces of test equipment sitting around on your bench. You might have some more in your vehicle. You might have some more at work. Your friends might bring some over. Who knows? But how do you know if they're working? How do you know if they're accurate? And how close are they to calibration? Well, that's why we do what we do. That's why we make the DMMCheck Plus. This was designed by Doug Malone, an electrical engineer of electrical engineers. We wanted one for a couple years, and we always missed the window where he would have them in stock. And we wanted it because to meet ETL or UL certification, the inspectors would check our calibration certificates, and it had to be calibrated. Some of our equipment had to be calibrated every year in order to keep our listings. And it was very expensive to ship it out, and oftentimes the equipment would come back damaged. Some of the equipment was really heavy, so it was expensive to ship, and the shipping companies would accidentally drop it, or it would, I don't know, fall off a truck. Sometimes they would come in totally destroyed. Very expensive to fix, and we would just be down. Production would be down, and that was unacceptable. So I was looking for an in-house reference standard that we could use that would have some sort of a calibration certificate that I could show to the inspector for UL and ETL. We had to have something like this when I worked in avionics. They would come back every year and check our airworthiness certificates, and they wanted to see how our equipment was calibrated, what it was calibrated on, its due dates, and that it had traceability. The nice thing about what Doug had offered and what we offer now is this is available online all the time. So if you have an inspection coming up and you wanted to download the documentation of what equipment it was tested on, its serial number, the calibration due date, you could download our calibration certificates and use it, because that is what this is calibrated off of. And for your testing, it gives you pretty much everything that you're going to use on a meter on a day-to-day basis. It's giving you DC and AC voltage, DC and AC current. Over here on this side you have ohms, capacitance up on the daughter board up here, and inductance up on the daughter board over here. You get two frequencies with this. You get 100 hertz and 10 kilohertz standard. Just flip the switch up to AC and you'll have 100 hertz, and then if you go to DC and AC again, you'll have 10 kilohertz. That's how you switch between the two frequencies. It's all in a nice little case. It's battery powered and kind of small and compact and not too expensive, and that's what we want, is something that people could afford to have without needing this expensive test equipment. Over the years we've gotten some great feedback, and thank you for that. People have said things like it was a little difficult to get the clip leads up underneath here, and we're like, okay, it's underneath the acrylic to keep it safe. Warm-up time is about 20 minutes, so if it was on all the time, it would be nice, but they didn't want to wear down the battery. I'm like, okay, I understand. And the LT1021 5-volt reference, same one used in some very high-end pieces of test equipment, is exposed to ambient air, and it is also static sensitive. So when people would send this in for calibration, and by the way, we offer free calibration within the first 2 years. You just pay for shipping. But if they get their fingers in there and you've been rubbing your feet on the carpet, you could zap that LT1021 and it would be no good. They would send them in for recalibration, and we would end up replacing that IC chip. So that was another thing we wanted to address in future models. We're already up to Rev 6. We've pretty much maxed out this board, and now some components are no longer available, or they're getting more and more difficult to find, I should say. A lot of these through-hole components. So what we've done is now we've gone from Rev 6 to Rev 7, and now we're on Rev 8. So I'd like to introduce you to the new DMMCheck Plus high stability model. It's a high stability model because now all the components are inside this enclosure. They're not exposed to the ambient air. The LT1021, you can't get your fingers on it, and air drafts are not going to affect it. The turrets are all available around the outside of the board, so it's easier to get to them. You don't have to sneak underneath the acrylic to get to it. And also, you can leave it on all the time with an external 15-volt power supply. If you want to carry it out of the shop or away from the power supply, you'd simply unplug it. It switches to internal battery, and now you're portable. You can move it wherever you want. So that's what we're going to use to test various pieces of equipment, starting with my very first multimeter down there. And we'll test all these various types of meters. And if you have any suggestions, please let us know, and we'll add them to the list. So it will be the new high stability DMMCheck Plus versus various multimeters. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. This is Russ with DMMCheck Plus.